begin again. Let's switch to the scene. There we go. And today, it's going to be more of Green Desert, as I'm tentatively calling it. It's not going to be the most exciting thing to start, so we're going to be doing these rocks, basically. Which isn't super fun to watch. Well, maybe it is. I suppose it's fun to see how it works. There's a texture correction needed. Anyway. I thought I would start with the Rogue Squadron theme because, well, it's a classic. After that, I'll probably put on some Spore music, which is just more like vibing ambience. That or TBC music, because it's also vibing ambience. How about that? I just wanted to start with something a little more dramatic. Now the height for all these should be like -380, but I am going plus and minus by like 1 or 2 occasionally, just to keep them from looking too uniform. I'm going to save there out of paranoia for no reason. Let's see. Change the music to Zangar Marsh. Oh, let me check the volume on that quick. There we go. It seems kind of appropriate for this. I think so, anyway. I wonder if putting these would be good here. It's out of bounds, but it's kind of a cute touch. This music's very nostalgic for me. When I played WoW, Zangar Marsh, not including like the leveling zone, the early leveling zones, but Zangar Marsh was one of the first zones I did all the quests in. Which I actually did all the quests in, I think, basically every zone in WoW at this point, except for like the more Dragonflight. I didn't do Dragonflights because I didn't even buy it. And it's the current expansion and I'm just kind of like, ugh. But Zangar Marsh always has a kind of special place in my heart. It's actually a relatively short zone. It's funny because they weren't super organized back then. So like, I think most of the TBC zones had something like 100 to 120 quests, maybe? I could be completely wrong. But Zangar Marsh was something like 50 or 40. So it's relatively short, but I guess it was kind of a smaller zone because a lot of it was quote-unquote dead space with the lakes and stuff, but it didn't feel dead because it was very much an alive zone with all the swamps and the stuff you'd expect in a swamp. So I liked it. Oh, negative would help. The story didn't really make sense to me though, because it was all about the Cenarian Circle and stuff, and I could be wrong, but it always felt like they had kind of weak lore. Then again, I think a lot of early WoW's lore was more expecting you to already have a passable knowledge of things, so a lot of it was confusing. And then a lot of it was also just not super well written, because it was like, so the good stuff expected you to already have like a passing knowledge of Warcraft 3, which I did not have. And the bad was like, how to put this? It was... Sometimes it was just like reference quests or things that didn't like you could understand them, but like there was no like greater story to it. It was just like, I really want this pet Murloc. Will you help me get pet Murlocs? It's like, okay. Like that. It doesn't tell you anything about the zone or the world. It doesn't really matter either. Inconsequential might be a good word. Though there were also quests that was like, even if you didn't understand Warcraft 3 lore, you could get something emotional out of stories. And those were fun. I think probably the questline everyone would point to that, which isn't even very old, is Legion's Ruinous questline. About a mad high elf who has gone crazy but tries to help. You keep expecting him to betray you because he's gone crazy. But in the end, he actually does help you. And he's basically fighting off losing his sanity and becoming basically a zombie the whole time. So you're convinced that he's just going to turn into a zombie or betray you at some point. But in the end, he helps you. And then you find him, after the battle, you find him like huddled in a corner. And he basically thanks you for making the last few moments of his sanity mean something and let him do something meaningful. And then he wanders off as a zombie, basically. And it's really sad. It's also voiced by Jim Cummings, so that helps. It's a very popular quest line. But it's also a one-off in many ways. Like, you can't really bring that character back without... Well, the Warcraft writers are not capable of bringing that character back without diluting his importance, because they're not very good writers. And you can strike gold with a quest like that once, but rewriting it or bringing a character like that back requires being a good writer, which the Warcraft writers are not and never have been. But it's a good quest line on its own. Anyway, a lot of my ramblings seem to do with World of Warcraft, but there is a distinct similarity between this map editor and how World of Warcraft is made. So I'm also listening to a lot of ambient music from World of Warcraft, so that's probably a big part of it as well. It's also something I have strong opinions on. That helps. I talked about this last time, but this track is actually apparently, this music playing right now is apparently one of those generic free release tracks, but like they changed the instruments on it. I still like it though. They also use this one for Encourage, if it sounds familiar. Oh, these are going to take forever. Pain. Let's see here. Let me check, make sure this is working quick. Alright, cool. Anyway, so I guess I can talk about this. The trick to this is to basically take the same shape rock and keep it rotated differently each time, because it's got such an uneven shape that it looks different all the time. Like, if you look closely, you can see it, the patterns, but the trick is to make it so that the patterns aren't super obvious. So, I think I'm pretty good at that. I've also done it a lot at this point, but I still think I'm pretty good at it. set these to -2 and see how they look. Alright. Kind of nice. There we go. I kind of want to put these all over the map, but I also know that will incur a lot of lag potentially. But it might look really good. Not sure. I also want to put all the mushrooms, and I don't think the mushrooms will incur lag because they are small and static. Flowers would be nice too, but not sure how that'll play out. Alright. This is Hellfire Peninsula music, which is like, it's meant to be ominous, but it's kind of peaceful in a weird way. But that's kind of true of all of TBC's music. The Burning Crusade. I think I just have a thing for the rolling, I'm not sure what instrument it is, but the rolling sound of the humming. No, I'm not really super musically inclined. I like music, and I've tried to compose, and I've tried to learn to play, but I'm not great at either. Apparently, my mother's mother was a master pianist, but she died when my mom was relatively young, and my mom always regretted that. Well, not just because her mom died, but because she would have liked her to be alive to have met us, because she's convinced she could have taught all of us to become really good at piano. And honestly, I kind of feel that, because I would like to learn piano, but I'm bad at disciplining myself, if I'm being honest. Well, it's my mother's grandmother, which is very different from my dad's grandmother. Because they are very, very different people. Based on what I know of my mom's mom and having met my dad's mom. They are extremely different people, for better and worse. Alright, so that's another one down. Oh, I forgot I did this. I punish myself with my ideas. I need to rotate this one to cover the cracks. There we go. Alright, so it's a little similar. Well, it's almost the same angle, but that's okay. As long as you don't repeat something multiple times. Though even if you do, it doesn't necessarily stand out. Like the Pashvi Bridgia map is just straight up the same pattern repeated numerous times, but it doesn't really stand out. But it's also a very tall map, so I think that's part of it. There we go. Now, like the way I have like sort of a smooth run of surface along this side. It's a bit more jagged over here. Mixing it up is always good. Also getting a little more inconsistent with the heights, which is probably a good thing too. Let's see, I've gone with the dip side out too many times here, so I'm going to go with this. Try to connect it. Okay. There we go. Auto save. How many objects? Oh, less than 200. That's good. I'm probably less than halfway for these rocks, but I'm guessing I'll be at probably about 500 when I finish, and that'll be like the most intense part of this map done. So then it'll just be a lot of grass props, which maybe put me up to 1,000, 1,500. So that's a lot, but still not terrible in terms of number count. And it certainly won't make the save times too bad. I don't think that happens more when you get past 2,000. You know, I actually finished the Tulpa map last night. I still want to add a phoenix bird to it. Have those fly over. I think that would be pretty fun. Not sure what to plug it in for other than Tulpa. The moment. Let's get this. There we go. Make this one a bit shorter because I just want it to cover this gap, not much else. Come on. There we go. There. Save. Oh boy, how many more? Maybe I should just do the biggest one. Well, I am not entirely sold on this shape, actually. I'm tempted to cut this into two different ones. Oh, you know what? Let me toggle something in the controls quick. Here we go. Now you should be able to see my cursor. Right? Should. Yes. Okay, you can see it. Good. But yeah, I was thinking of dividing this into two parts. Try to match general shape here. Maybe unnecessary though. Well, if I did, I could put like a valley in between. That might be nice. It's probably unnecessary. Though, it might make sense to just have this cut off completely. I could do that here as well. Not really... Well, it might look a little weird there, but... Yeah, you know what? I think I might save and perhaps export this height map. Let's see here. Give me a second. Export height map. Now, switch screens, or screen one, here we go. Does this capture the, does not. Okay, let me change that quick. Capture cursor. There we go. Zoom in, and go ahead and fill this with yellow. And let me see which other ones it was. Okay. Oh. Guess that's unnecessary, but I think I'll just draw it. Yeah. No. Okay. Maybe I'll just have these all connect. Just make it look like they've cut off a valley or something like that. Yeah, I think... Let me look back at the map again. Okay. I could probably connect this one as well. Oh, I forgot to even texture that one. Huh. Alright, 1 second. Oops. Oh well. That's funny, but whatever. Oh, excuse me. Got something caught in my mouth. Oh wait, no. I wanted space to put a capturable back here. So there we go. And what about this here? Thank you. Thank you. Perhaps it might make sense to just connect it all the right way around. That'd be interesting. Yeah, and it's got like kind of a weird shape to it too, which I kind of like. You know, I'm gonna go with it. All right, let me. Go ahead and cover all these because I want it to be smooth. Oh, and then around the sides I'm going to have to do whatever. Actually, how'd that look? I do kind of wish I'd make this one stick out more, maybe, but whatever. Not sure about this edge, though. There we go. You know what? I'll just do the white with this, and then I'll draw in the lips around it, the dips, I should say, around it in the editor itself. I think that's simpler and more accurate to shape than trying to squint and see black against very, very dark gray. Decided to call this map Green Desert because I figure it is a desert still, kind of, but now it's green. And this also leaves me flexibility to decide if it becomes more jungle-like or stays a desert that just happens to be green, or a desert with oases, or something else. I have flexibility now. See, I like this too because it kind of implies that the base is in a canyon and hard to reach, which is a good thing, I think. Yeah. I hope. Go ahead and save that. Close. Now I go to height. Load. Green desert. Bam. Look at all that. You can't actually see it yet, but there we go. Okay. It's still a lot to cover, but now it's just one line mostly, one very long line, and then two small ones, which is going to be less of a hassle. In theory. Okay. And it still maintains sort of a whimsical shape, which is what I want. Alright, now it's increases to 80. I can clean this up myself more later, better. That line ended up a little more straight than I wanted it to. It'll probably be okay with the rocks being odd shapes though, so I'm not going to fuss about it too much. On Earth. Is it all the way back? It's all the way back there, okay. Save. And I'm going to use the fill and hopefully not crash the editor. Nice. Perfect. Exactly what I wanted. It's now a canyon. Go ahead and save there. Ugh, stretch. I really like this track from Blade's Edge Mountains. It's called Dry Forest. The rest of Blade's Edge is pretty forgettable, but I do like this track. Take these. You can still see some map edge, but it's not too bad. It'll be mostly seen like this, I suppose, anyway. That's not something I can really prevent too much. With 1,000 distance, it's already pretty big. It'll just be a matter of putting grass and trees and stuff and hoping for the best. This is also dry forest. Very pretty track for what is possibly the worst zone for questing in the game. Trying to switch between smooth and rocky. Once all these rocks are done, I can do some more interesting prop placement and texturing. Actually, I might be able to do some testing, even. exciting. Yeah, I think this will work out okay. I do love the idea of a desert that isn't yellow or brown. It's just kind of neat to see. Maybe I just like working with rocks. And I like the excuse to put down nature stuff. I think the one thing I really don't like working with, ironically, is fields, because it just means using a lot of grass props. And that's just more trouble than it's worth half the time. Rotate this around. If it seems like I'm streaming a lot, it's really just that I'm streaming when I'm mapping, and I'm mapping a lot, and I always have been. That's the secret, if anyone was wondering. Main thing that's changed is now I'm filming it, recording it rather. I like that. It's a nice transition. Let's do something a bit rockier here. Oops. I'm not sure what I want to listen to next. It's a bit of a radical transition here, but I feel like doing one here is okay. Actually, it's a bit of a corner, so maybe it's a bad idea. There. Give me a second. I'm gonna go find something to listen to. Actually, I don't know if that's copyright struck. It's probably not, but it could be. Try some Halo music. There we go. Did I say Halo? I meant Metroid. A little bit taller. Yeah, this is nice. Actually, I am completely forgetting something. Actually, I guess I don't really need to do. I was gonna say I need to draw on the dips, but I probably don't. Not really. I should, I don't need to do the terrain dips, but I should fill in the whole textures. Okay, maybe I do need to do it a little bit. Alright, so... technically, if it's going to get covered with rock... Whatever. Oh, I'm overthinking it. I try to be a little too rigid sometimes with my own rules I make for myself, which does result in a higher quality, but sometimes it also results in things taking much longer than they need to. So I try to force myself to not adhere to those rules. Just, I don't know if I'll get that many more rocks today, or at least for now, but I am going to get this done, at least. I probably didn't need to fix that, because... oh, well. I'm gonna make myself leave that alone. I'm already being anal about the rocks covering all of this anyway, so... Alright. All the way across here. Ooh, this is a nice track. Is this Torvis Bog? No, it's, which one is this? I wonder. Brine Star Red Soil. Or is it Bryn Star? I always pronounce it as Brine Star, but I guess it could be Bryn Star. I was not super into Metroid. I had a friend growing up who really was, though. And my brother always played as Samus in Smash Brothers, but always much more aggressive, and I think I played Falco, in Melee anyway. And then in Brawl, I played Meta Knight, which you might be thinking, oh, because he's OP. And believe it or not, no. When Melee was still the only game around, I really wanted Meta Knight to be playable in the next Smash Brothers game. And so it didn't really matter how good or bad Meta Knight was, I was going to play as Meta Knight. It just happened that Meta Knight was the best character. And I think that's pretty valid. Though I did enjoy playing as DDD. Arguably more, sometimes. This is a track that I'm fairly certain appears in a... Oh, I'm sorry. I completely forgot to turn this back on. I'm an idiot. I am so sorry that I left that running on the sit tight screen. Of course, I'm pretty sure nobody's actually watching right now, so it's my secret for myself and everyone watching the VOD. Basically, I went along here and did all these. I cut into it a little bit. That's about it. Alright. Doing this with a height map has been nice because the corners are so sharp, which would look terrible, except that I'm covering them with rocks anyway, so it looks good. Or it looks fine. Or it is fine, and it's functionally easier to work with. Oh, it's still not too long. Oh, because I'm at 250 objects. Oh, you can't see that. You know what, let me adjust that quick. There. How's that? I'm slowly becoming more professional. Slowly. I say after I left the screen blank for like 5 minutes. Oh well. I find this very zen, very relaxing. But I imagine it drives most people crazy. It would drive most people crazy to have to do this. But I like it. Alright. Probably go for an hour, maybe, then stop. Or maybe just try to get this stuff done. It feels a bit loud. Let me tweak that a bit. There we go. I cannot tell if that's not a dip. Okay. So I'm gonna keep cleaning up around the sides here. There we go. Man, it feels like it just is never ending. Still, this beats doing a bunch of smaller circles. And it gives me more room to decorate up top. Maybe I can put some animals up there. Or I guess they're mostly out of bounds, but here and here I can put in animals. Maybe a rancor. Oh, wait. I guess with the base game assets, it would have to just be a bantha. Oh, Gelagrubs are an option, I suppose. Gelagrubs and banthas. Or Womp Rats. Tauntauns, but that wouldn't really make a lot of sense, but whatever. Let's get all these inner circles now, too. No sense not looking pretty. Even if we haven't done the pillars yet. Round and clean. Cut and clean. And keep just rolling it around the edges. Working with the squares is something I enjoy, but it does also limit capacity for nature stuff to an extent. But as I think I've shown, you can find ways around it. It's just sometimes frustrating how limiting it can be. Let's save. Get this rock next. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, this one has rocks around it already, which is perfect, because this one will be just done. I mean, other than texturing the top putting plants, whatever. But still. I'm not sure what kind of wildlife I want to use here. I think definitely birds. Brown birds. The galagrubs or Felucia beetles. Yeah, I think those will work nicely too. Let's see, what else? I could put womp rats maybe, but I feel like they'd be a little too short to see. But who knows? I suppose I could put banthas atop. Mix things up a bit. I could put banthas below, maybe. Yeah, because it is a desert. I don't know. I do want brown birds, so that's a definite one. Actually, before I forget, I guess I could go ahead and just put some brown birds out. So, ground indigenous unit. Medium is the brown ones. Where did they go? Oh, I'm hiding objects, that's why. Ha! Okay. And have it face this way. Have one face this way. One face upwards. Now, it kind of doesn't matter too much where you face them, but I try to make them not face the middle unless I want them to go to the middle, because generally over time they're all going to congregate randomly. They're all going to move randomly, but it is going to sort of congregate towards the middle. Alright, so 6 birds. Brown. All brown. And they'll just fly around the map and slowly make their way to the middle. Let's put a 7th bird somewhere. Let's have him fly up into the corner because he'll just turn around anyway. This is the Torvis Bog theme, which is pretty nice. I think it's relatively popular as well. Alright, now back to the holes. So there's the 7 birds, and they'll just fly around the map, doing their thing. Slowly ending up sort of in the middle, but I think that's okay. Actually, this will be a nice one too because there's a bump in the middle, so their heights will be randomly adjusted up and down as they cross over it, which is a nice thing. They have the same physics as swamp... no, what are they called? Snow speeders. But they move much slower and they fly lower. They also don't get shot down. It's amazing how many people forget they exist, but those little passive things do add a nice little ambience to every map. Let's clean this around. It's a little harder to see now because I think another thing that drives me crazy about the map editor is one side has like these sharp edges like this, the other side cuts them at an angle, and it just I would like it to be one or the other. Actually, I think I'd prefer it to be all like this because that would give me quite a few options. And it would look nicer in general for like the more casual mapper, but because like that just like it works for like a building or something, but like this looks more natural. I mean, it's not great, but it does look more natural. I tend to design maps around the idea that I will only go diagonal if it's on this side, not this side. Of course, the diagonals don't actually do any good for whole textures like that, so it's a bit limiting no matter what. It's weird going from like a almost 5,000 object count map to one with less than 300 and seeing autosave just be super fast still. It's nice though. It's just weird. I'll leave that. That's alone. That's fine. Yeah, it's totally fine. Excuse me. Maybe this. Just easier to see, I guess. Alright. I think I like mapping because I like the idea of having not an adventure, but like going to a random new place and fighting there or something there in video games. And introducing a lot of different planets allows that. Which is kind of my turnoff with space battles, is because they all do kind of look the same. And a lot of times they do play the same. Which, arguably, TR really needs someone with a lot of passion to go and fix up the space maps, but there are certain gameplay things that need to be decided first. But I just don't have the passion for space combat in EAW at all. I actually used to kind of avoid it in the base game. Well, not always, but like to some extent. And, I don't know. Actually, that was one of the things that made me bored of Remake right away, was, the lack of... Well, I didn't get bored right away, but like... Because it was like the first mod I played coming back after something years, so of course I enjoyed some of it. But, it was just like only space, and I was like, I miss ground. I miss seeing things on ground. I miss using heroes, microwing heroes, ground battles and stuff like that. Actually, what ultimately, well, that was one grievance I had. The other was, well, another factor was my friend was telling me was that he tried TR first, I tried Remake first, then we tried each other's, and he was like, oh my god, I cannot stand how hard it is to see space units in Remake, and he wasn't wrong. I mean, it is really hard. I was a little on the fence about TR, but then I had that event, what was it called? Where the third party attacks, and I was like, oh my god. Because I used to do modding back in the day, and to my knowledge, setting up something like that was impossible. And seeing it actually happen in game was mind-blowing. So that got me interested in TR quite a bit. TR ground combat was not good, though. I actually think I enjoyed playing ground in the base game more than TR at that time. but it's gotten better. Part of that is because of me. I actually think ground is in a much better place. I know I can't take all the credit, but I think I did kind of push for it. I know I pushed for it pretty hard. To the point where I probably did bother some people. But, I don't know. I think some of my criticisms were pretty valid, like pointing out that the heroes don't, and the units don't have abilities, which makes them less fun to interact with. I did not add, well, I added like only a couple units abilities, but for the most part I pushed hard to get abilities onto units. And I also specifically made maps. This is almost sort of a reaction, but I made maps that were had an emphasis on infantry only and what is it? Hover passability, because what the hell did I just do? Weird. At the time, there was basically just clear passability, which means everything can cross on it, and then as well as steep passability, which means only flying units can cross on it. And Rogue had a thing where he liked to mostly, he makes really pretty maps, but he still kind of does have a thing where he tends to make water steep instead of water passable. And I think Mon Calamari in the older versions is a good example of that people probably know, where the ocean was just completely flying only. And I think apparently that came about because supposedly units got stuck out there, but I've never actually seen that myself, but whatever. But I remember that because it was what was it? Clear passability only. I remember XR85 was absurdly overpowered, but it was also at the point where you just put down 10 of them and you won. Or you put down a stormtrooper squad, captured the second landing zone, then put down 9 XR85s and you won. That was it. That was the whole battle. And when I realized that, I really disliked it, so I started specifically designing maps that were like antagonistic to XR85s. And kind of AT-ATs as well. So I specifically put in maps where hover units could flank and stuff, because that was something that the base game kind of had. Not a ton of, but it did exist. And to some extent it was also cheese, because it was like not even water passability that the devs really thought about, but you could find ways around to, like, especially with the MAL FOC artillery with its longer range and hover passability. I had some fun doing cheese with that, which, I mean, it's cheese, but it's also taking advantage of the terrain that exists. And so between that and well, the desire to be antagonistic to an overpowered unit, I started specifically designing maps with an emphasis on hover and infantry only passability. And I think that's actually helped a lot for gameplay. Cheese, yes, indeed. I think the mods improved, ground has improved a lot because of the emphasis on hover passability and infantry, especially infantry only. I think that's very important. There is sort of a fine line between cheese and just using tactics. I think sometimes people get hung up on the fact that, oh, the player can outsmart the AI and that's bad. It's like, well, you shouldn't punish the player for doing something smart also. It's only really a problem if it becomes like the same strategy every time. I don't know. Otherwise, you're just creating, well, basically TR before 3.0, which frankly wasn't that fun. In fact, I would go so far as to say it was worse than the base game at times. But I think cheese can be a good thing as long as it's fun for the player. Like, the Battlefront 2 games are pretty cheesy. But people enjoy them. Running around the map with a Corvette and HEV is not Supreme Tax. Okay, that's just explicitly cheese. But I mean, like, if you can divide the forces, or if the, you can, like, flank the enemy, or take advantage of them not taking advantage of something, that's fine. HVG stuff is a totally different thing in itself, because it's basically bombing run cheese, but in space. That's basically what it is. I wouldn't say, I mean, sure, but I mean, like, I wouldn't say FOC was necessarily outdated when it came out. There were a lot of games that were definitely worse. It's just that there were some games that were above and beyond everything else. FOC was definitely, well, I should say Empire at War. It was actually probably above average when it came out, especially for the polish it got in certain regards. %, with 2% error margin. I'm actually not sure what that refers to. But it was above average when it came out, or? Ooh, that's a nice cut. I'm gonna save that. I want to sort of veer towards higher than lower. Yeah, but I don't. You're sure, but I don't know what you're sure about because of the delay. It's only 10% in 10 seconds now, but still. It's not my best, but this is okay, I think. I'll take that. Oh, I should sit up straight. I hope Metroid Prime 2 Echoes gets a remaster as well. Oh, excuse me. Let me stretch. Oh. Okay. I am slowly creeping up to be higher and higher with these, but I think that's okay. I'm good. At the end of the day, I think it's important to consider if a cheese thing is still fun for the players, rather than, oh, the players are taking advantage of something, we have to stop it. Because it's a game design trap to get caught up on the idea of, oh, the players aren't playing the way we want them to, as opposed to just letting them do what they want. Oh, fuck, I forgot about that. Forgot I'm out of bounds for this. That's nice. I have no idea what this song is. Okay, hang on. 33 minutes in. Sector? Oh, it's an ice area. Okay, that makes sense. Depends on what it is. I mean, sometimes cheese is fun. Like, I think a great example is being able to use stealth units to conquer planets in FOTR. It is definitely cheese, but at the end of the day, it's a single player game, not competitive. And if a player wants to play that way, there's going to be a couple players that are going to absolutely love it. But it's not by any means required. And in many ways, it's actually inefficient, except for losses. It's loss efficient, but it's time inefficient. And I think it's okay to leave that in for the players that want it, because it's their time. But on the other hand, I did see one Reddit post that kind of bothered me, because someone was like, well, I have to play this way because it's, or, they didn't say they had to play, they said something that just, I can't remember now, but I remember it really bothered me because they were complaining about stealth units being able to conquer whole planets, and I don't remember if I actually replied, but I think I typed something up and then deleted it. I said something to the effect of, yes, you can, but it's time inefficient, and we're not going to remove a mechanic just because that can be cheesed that some players like just because other players are doing it. If other players are doing it and feel like they have to do it, that's understandable sometimes, but in this case, I think it's a case of a player hurting themselves on purpose. And it's like, don't ruin something for one player just because another player's an idiot. I don't think I sent that. I'm pretty sure I didn't, but I was very tempted to. You don't have to bring Gree, Delta Squad, Omega Squad, Ayla Secure to every... Actually, this wasn't even before... What was it? I can't remember what it was. You don't have to bring all the cheese units to a battle. You don't have to choose that every time. I don't know, I think... No, see, that's kind of what I was saying. I would challenge the notion whether that ground pound is necessarily the time intensive compared to going through... Okay, so it's map by map, and I think that's a good thing. I think it shouldn't be one or the other every time. But if you conquer through stealth every time, it is going to be time inefficient. But if you do it selectively, I think that's a good thing. I think it's good that that should exist, and it's something that AI can't take advantage of and do themselves, because that wouldn't be fun if they did. But I think it's good that it exists as an option for players. I often think of Kirby games because Kirby games are not hard. They generally are pretty easy. But what a lot of people don't seem to understand about Kirby games is that you set your own, at least the older ones. I'm more familiar with older ones than anything past 2005. But in the older ones, you basically set your own difficulty. Because there are some powers that are, no, I guess 2010. I did play the Wii U one. Because there are some powers that are very easy to control, and you can basically just use as I win buttons almost. But there are also powers that are even stronger, but are very hard to control. And they take genuine skill and strategy to use properly. And there is nothing telling you don't use this, do use that. Most of the time in Kirby games, you can just use whichever one you want. And I think that's honestly close to peak game design for a single player game, because it lets players choose what they want to be. They can choose the harder path, or they can choose the easy path. And let me see, like, what's the easy one? Not Fireball Kirby. Hammers. I'm trying to think what's the really easy Kirby power in the old games. Tornado, kind of. Like, you gotta be careful where you time the ending, but it's pretty powerful. Actually, maybe not even Tornado, because there is skill involved in, like, doing the hit and run. Which one is pretty brain dead? I guess Fire, though, it leaves you exposed to the top. Sword, I wouldn't call Sword totally brain dead. I know there's brain dead abilities, I just can't remember what they are. But by contrast, Backdrop Kirby is like, you have to be pretty careful about how you use it. But it's pretty satisfying to use if you do get it. Fireball Kirby. That one is pretty, it's a little tricky in the actual levels, but it's very brain dead against bosses. Because you basically just move through the boss invincible when they attack. And you slowly kill them that way. That's about it. Save again. Then the Wii U game did some weird stuff, but with the superpowers or whatever, but they kept to the same pattern of having some very hard to use abilities and some very easy to use ones. Like Ninja is pretty complex. And it's a little fragile as well, but it does hit pretty hard when you use it right. I mean, you can't use it as a dismissal. You can't use It's a Single Player Game as a dismissal. You can't just dismiss every problem as well. It's a single player game. That is problematic and very short-sighted. But I think it is something that is important to keep in mind because we aren't beholden to perfect balance like a single player game or a multiplayer competitive online game is necessarily. Well, there's Skirmish, but Skirmish doesn't have the same rules as GC. So that's kind of inevitable, depending on the game. We might be talking about different things when we mean gameplay loop, but like, I think part of WoW's failure, as an example, is that they got upset that they put resources into things that players didn't use, so they started making everything required. And then they basically just only made required content, so players were forced to do things they didn't want to do, and players that wanted to I lost my train of thought. Players that didn't want to engage with them were now forced to, and less stuff for players that wanted to engage with it was made in general as well. So it's a dangerous path. I think this might be too similar, but it's just one. Is this part of? This is part of. Okay. Is Metroid really just the same few themes over and over again? And I just never noticed before? Lower Brimstar is the same as auto-resolve? Yeah, I was thinking about that. But it would it's really depends on what we're talking about specifically, I guess. I just think sometimes cheese is okay. The AI doesn't need to be as smart as the player. Battlefront 2 might be a good example because like it is kind of just a power trip game, but people really love it despite that. Or maybe because of that. And I think on the flip side, a lot of players don't really want to engage with space battles on defense. I don't know if it's a lot, but I've seen players, even people who engage with the game a lot, I've seen them say stuff like they don't want to engage with space battles on defense. And I kind of think that might be because the AI is sometimes not too good, but almost too punishing on the time. I don't know. When it gets to choose its own battles. I don't know. Because the cheese is, well, tactics, cheese, whatever you want to call it, because it's kind of a very blurry line, I think. Well, excluding extreme cases like running around an asteroid while using the hypervelocity gun. That's just cheese. Because that's basically the same as using a flying unit and then ordering bombardments and bombing runs and bombardment. So that's cheese. But like, which defense? I mean, space defense. Like just defending against an attacker in space. When they have to defend against like a huge invading force. I know that when I started TR, and even on easy difficulty, like whenever I got invaded, it just felt like, okay, well, this was also an older version, but it really reinforced the idea that I should never be on defense in TR because I can't just fight it off like I can in the base game. For space, anyway. Kind of ground too, but I think ground's better. I don't know. The turrets in TR are... I don't know. I don't like them as much as I like them in the base game. I never really have. Then again, a lot of my impressions were made before 3.0, so... I have to sort of dismiss them as potentially outdated. Even if they're like something I carry subconsciously. It's kind of why I don't like testing myself, because I don't trust my own impressions. Save. Oh, I'm almost all the way around. Oh. All right. I actually wondered. That makes me think. I wonder how many people like have misguided impressions of mechanics in TR and FOTR because of something or some things that happened in earlier versions. I wonder. Something to think about anyway. Okay, almost done. Ugh, that's too similar. Ah. There we go. That's better. Let's try it this way. There we go. It's nice and pretty. -3738. There we go. I have an odd question. Would you judge someone based on what they name their dog? Like if they named it after a TV show character or a video game character? Or perhaps pet in general. Like naming your cat Yoshi or something. You would. That's not actually surprising. What about a dog named Karth? Like Karth Onassi? Or a dog named Deadpool? Would you judge a dog named Deadpool or Karth? Very cringe. What's your dog's name? I'm pretty sure you have a dog. I feel like you've said you have a good dog. I can't remember. Okay, but what's its name? You didn't name it, but what's the dog's name? Alright, Nikki is kind of a cute name. Is that a German name or just a cute name? I'm actually not sure. Sabina? Not Sabrina? The original name was Sabina. Is that a typo or was it Sabrina? Or was it actually Sabina? Since she is a Spanish rescue. Like a rescue from Spain or like a Spanish breed? Definitely not German. Yeah, I didn't think so. Actually, Sabina. Huh. Sabina. That's cute. My dog's name is Lucy. From Spain, Gran Canaria. Okay. So she's not like a Spanish breed of dog or anything. Or like Spanish Husky or some nonsense like that. There is no such thing as Spanish Husky, that's for sure. But no such thing like that. Or if it's hot in Spain. I've not actually been there in ages. I imagine it's warmer than the rest of Europe. It's been a long time since I was in Spain, though. Don't actually remember much. Try something different for this one. since it's approaching the end. That's the end of Metroid music. What else do we got? Got Spore. We won't be going too much longer, probably. Oh, wait, here we go. Oh, excuse me. Autosave. Hello, nice to see you. Oh, wow. Look at that. Almost all the rocks and I'm less than 300 objects. That's awesome. I mean, this took a while, but at least it's not going to fuck with my save time later. So I'm happy. It also means a little less lag while playing, probably. Maybe? I don't know. I suspect the grass is going to counteract that, though. But whatever. That's not my problem. There we go. Save. Whew. I wonder if I put on the normal rather than low. Is it 24 seconds? It might be 24 seconds. Oh well. Sorry about that. Because I'm looking at what the screen is showing it. Oh wait, no. No, I think it's on time. 1 second here. Alright, sorry. Let's see, what other ones do I have to do? I have to do this one. And this one. Just the two. Alright. First, though, I wonder if I should clear this one. Make something in the middle of it. Or maybe make this space up more open. I don't know. Possibly. It might be wise to do that, but I don't know. This one I think is fine as is, so I'll take care of it right now. These missing textures. Ah, my eardrum hurts today. Clean up this quickly. Save. Let's try minus 3, 7, 8. And you know what? I think I want to do testing before I do anything with this rock. Because this is the most important one, being in the middle. So if I end up changing something, it's probably going to be this one. This one is probably fine. Oh, excuse me. Oh, sorry, I needed to cough. There we go. There we go. Hey, how spaced apart is this? Is this... it's a little tight for infantry only. You know, I'll just do more of them to fill in the gaps so that I take up less space. Three, 9. There we go. There. All right. Probably gonna wrap up after this one, but I want to get it done first. Need to make sure there's like at least 5 squares-ish for the infantry to cross through here. I can have these jag out a little bit more now. There, that's pretty good. Let's try 3. Okay. And that's not perfectly covered, but that's okay because I'm going to do this. Cover those holes. There we go. There. Make it a bit of a short one. Probably not the most pleasant music. What is it called? Here we go. Just finish on a funner, more fun song. Let's go over here. Excuse me. Alright. Now let's rotate this. Alright. Do some saving quick. This one will have to stick out like that. There we go. right. Three, 7, 8. That's probably good. There we go. After this, I need the map to be tested, probably. See what that middle section really needs. Three. There we go. And I think I'll stop there. Bug either you or NMS to test this. Oh, I guess I should set up the markers. Let's see. Oh, that might be too close. All right. What was I gonna do? All right. Defending forces here, 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 and here. How many is that? 10. Perfect. Actually, turbo lasers. Here. Here, for sure. Whatever. It's only 3 turbo lasers, but... Oh, right, here we go. 5. Three. 3. 3. What else was there? Power generator. Oh, and now I have to do the passability. Ugh. This might take a while. Actually, probably won't be too bad. It's a relatively simple map. Flying steep now. Basically, where only flying units can go. Stream crash? Well, I'm not going to concern myself too much if it did, because it's almost over. In theory. This is, of course, the part that I'm not sure I will keep. If I change something in this map, it'll be this middle section because, well, it affects the most of the playability? I don't know. Okay, well, it did for me, but that's fine. I can still see your chat, so that's everything that's important to me. What do you think? Are you up to testing this today? Let's go to infantry only. Turn off the water so I stop confusing myself. Hurting my own eyes. Fine. Is it late there? It's probably close to late, if it isn't late already. Alright. There we go. Relatively simple but functioning layout. Ah, okay. Already 130, that's fair. What was the... Are they called capturable turrets in the base game? No, they're under secondary structures, that's right. Oh. Ooh. Excuse me. All right. Go ahead and set the AI data. All right, I'm going to stop there. Thanks for watching. Oh, wow, almost 2 hours. All right. Well, thank you for sticking around, everybody, or anyone watching the VOD as it is.